In this new, updated Top 10 Silica Pearl location guide for Ark Survival Ascended the Island map, I'm going to show you how to farm over 1,000 Silica Pearls per minute on official rates very easily. I'll show you the best Silica Pearl locations to pick up hundreds of Silica Pearls on dry land or very shallow water, and I'll show you how to get all the Silica Pearls you ever need without ever leaving the beaches in the easy starting locations, and I'll show you some crazy tricks to get Silica Pearls anywhere on the entire island map. Now you can use the chapters to skip around to Silica Pearl spawns you're most interested in, but I'd recommend watching the whole guide because hardly anyone knows about some of these pearl spawns. So let's get started. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. I'm here on the east side of the map, right where the snow meets the jungle, and on the very edge of this coast is the probably absolute best place to get Silica Pearls on Ark Survival Ascended. So there's this glacier that comes down, and right at the base of the glacier is all of this crystal on this little tiny island. And then just to the right of that is this little piece of water that goes up into the forest. And right about here, 36.1, 11.3, if we enter the water right where the ice stops, you're going to start to see Silica Pearls in about 5 feet of water, and they just keep continuing up this river. There's another one right over here, another one here, and if we follow the really shallow river all the way up, we're going to keep seeing more of them. There's another one right here, another one over here I'm standing on, another one here, and I'm actually standing up at this point, and there's a couple more back in this little area here. So there's like 10 pearl nodes right here in very shallow water. It can be hard to spot them, but if you're sitting here in the air at noon, you can see them pretty well right on the surface here and just walk right up and pick them up. And just north of this little island that has all the crystal is this archway that goes out into the ocean, and the coordinates of this spot are just about 30.3, 9.1. If we go to the base of the arch right where it hits the water, and then we face towards this ruin over here down along the coast, and then once we hop in the water, you're going to start to see pearls right away, and there's another pearl node just about every 10-20 feet or so. Got another one here, and they just continue along the coast. You will have cold water, occasional piranhas, and maybe a shark or two, but the water's so shallow it's real easy to just skim along here and grab a bunch of pearl nodes, and you'll keep seeing a whole bunch of them all the way along the coast. You just have to look really closely, and in dim water it's really hard to see them because they blend in with the other rocks, but they're at least a little bit shinier, and we're finding quite a few of them as we go along the coast, right until we get just about to this little section of land. So if we head directly north from the blue ob all the way to the north side of the map at about 7.8, 23.7, we have this beach with a bunch of dead trees on it. And there's a couple of huge Silica Pearl nodes right there that we can just pick up with our bare hands. Also a bunch of oil. But if we head to the west and go along this coast, there's a bunch more of these shallow beaches, and these all have Silica Pearls on them. There's another one right here. They're kind of hard to spot sometimes, but we can keep picking up Silica Pearls as we go along here, especially if we have a flyer. There's a bunch of crystal over here, another Silica Pearl right there just below the surface, don't even have to get your feet wet, another one over here, and we just keep following this coast all the way back here. There's another one right there, and there's a couple more that'll be scattered along this coast. So we've gone all the way to this little inlet at about 12.1, 13.1, and you can see that right here. But it gets even better because you don't see any more on the surface right here. You do find some obsidian and stuff, but now we start to get into the water. So at exactly 10.6, 11.3, I've got one node right here, but then we see a bunch more of them just off the shelf. And here's the great thing about these guys, you can actually pick them up with an anglerfish and get about 10 times the pearls with some good melee, and there's a whole bunch of these just scattered all over the place just off the coast. This location's harder to find and harder to use, but with a good anglerfish, we can get about 1,300 Silica Pearls in 10 seconds, so bear with me for a second. So we're directly north of the blue obelisk, and you're going to find this beach on the very northern coast at about 7.6, 17.4. Look for all the dead trees, and then turn facing directly north, head straight for the world border, and we'll stop at about 2.5, 17 and go down into the ocean. And you'll notice there's a bunch of really big glowing plants down here in the bottom. There's this rock that kind of sticks up like a spire, and it points directly towards this huge rock on the bottom. And if we head straight to the bottom here, you'll see a couple of oil nodes underneath this huge glowing plant. Head right behind the oil nodes next to this little pearl, and we find this cave opening. The exact cave opening is 3.717.1. And if we pop out of here, it doesn't look like there's much up here, but these are actually all silica pearls, huge ones. They get tons of silica pearls for each of these nodes, and there's like 30 of them piled up on top of each other. Also over here, not rocks, pearls. So there's also some oil and crystal back here, and this cave stretches pretty far back, so if you put down a foundation and bed, you should be able to have a box up here, but if we bring an anglerfish, it gets ridiculous. So just outside the entrance at about 3.116.8, we've got a couple of silica pearls sitting right outside that we can grab with a good melee anglerfish and get quite a few pearls there. I just got 160. But here is what's really crazy about this little pool. So all of these pearls are just next to the water, so I can reach them with the angler, and check this out. That's right, over 500 silica pearls in one chomp, and by the time we finish gathering these that are right on the edge of the pool, which takes about 10 seconds total, we have 1,364 silica pearls on a 1x server. Now this is a good anglerfish. It's got 1,500 melee. I put like 50 levels into melee, but that's not that great. And you can get an insane amount of silica pearls. You can even put a dino gate to block off the entrance of this cave, use it as a water pen for your anglerfish, and then just keep coming back, respawning, grab all the pearls, stick them in a box, and then carry them back to the surface when you have like 10, 20,000 of them. And you're set for pearls for life. We also have quite a few silica pearls just below the surface on this beach right here. So the beach itself is right about 1030.3, and it's right where you start seeing some palm trees on the north side of the coast of the frozen area. And if you look real closely, you can see these silica pearls just below the surface right here. And there's a couple more of them scattered in the shallow waters down here. And they're hard to spot with the water sometimes, but there are quite a few of them scattered around here. Another one over here and another one over here. And they're shallow water, so they're easy to grab on foot, but they're also deep enough you can get an anglerfish in here and get hundreds of pearls every time you chomp some of these down. So it's a great spot to get silica pearls right here at 9.4, 30.8. If you keep following the coast to the east, there's a few more shallow pearls scattered around. You can kind of see them from the air, but I wouldn't mess with those because of this island here. And this island is actually surrounded by quite a few silica pearls. They're real hard to spot, but there's actually one right here on the surface, right about 8.8, 39.9. And as we go along the shallows, we're going to see a couple of them you can actually spot from the air. So this one right here, we've got a pearl right there. There's a couple more of them scattered around here that you can spot. There's one. And then as we get into this inlet, this really shallow river right next to the Uties and stuff, there's a couple more silica pearls scattered throughout this water. And you can spot them from the air or you can just swim along here, but there's probably 5 or 6 pearl nodes all along this area. So it's a great place to grab pearls in very shallow water, but you do have a couple problems like tons of raptors and Uties and stuff like that. So just south of the Blue Ob and right before you hit the volcano, there is a big river that splits the jungle and the frozen area. And there's actually quite a few silica pearls from this waterfall all the way along this stretch under the ice and in this little pool over here. And the river is at about 2830.5, but there's one specific spot I want to show you because most of those pearl nodes are really hard to find. So this is the ice loot cave we're looking at right here, and just to the south of that is all of this area with these big chunks of ice. We're going to look for the squarest one in the very middle of this ice flow right here, and then land on that, and then just to the north towards that ice cave is another square section right here. And we're going to stand on the very north edge at this crack in the ice. I'm at exactly 27.7, 29.8. And if I face the blue ob and hop in the water right here, I'm going to be directly above like 5 or 6 pearl nodes right here. So there's 2 here, another one here, another one here, and they're all over the place, and you can get a bunch of pearls from there. If we keep going to the north, there's another one right here underneath the ice, and there's a few more in this big river area, but they're really hard to find, so I'd recommend just grabbing these instead of searching for the other spots over here. I'll show you an awesome pearl cave and a bunch of pearls right next to it out in the open. So we're up on the top left corner of the map. There's this huge iceberg, and then if we turn directly south, there's one big iceberg directly south of it, and this is the one we're interested in. There's one oil node and a bunch of water in the middle of it, and if we go to the very north side of this, I'm going to stand right about 10.7, 3.6. We're going to look towards the one in the north and then hop down into the water, and then look directly down, and from this spot you can see a tiny white piece of ice on that big rock down there at the bottom. If we go exactly straight down from that iceberg, we're going to hit this spot right here, and you'll see that cave opening. It's directly below the white chunk of ice, and the location here is exactly 10.3, 3.8. Once we go in this cave, we're going to find a ton of silica pearls all along the bottom here. So there's a bunch of small ones and really large ones scattered across this spot, bunch of resources, and you might be able to get a box in here to pile up the pearls and get a bed, and hopefully they'll respawn. And then just outside the entrance to this little spot, there is actually a bunch of silica pearls just to the north. So if we face north and then look right out here, there's about 10 more pearls just right outside. You can also use this cave as a water pen for an anglerfish, and these pearls outside will get you over 300 pearls in like 10 seconds every time they respawn. Now, my personal favorite way to get silica pearls is from beaver dams. If you loot beaver dams, you can get anywhere from 0 to a couple hundred silica pearls. This one's got 40, but on a 1x server, you can easily get tons of silica pearls, all the pearls you need, just from looting beaver dams every time they respawn. Now, I have an entire beaver dam location guide that'll show you every spawn location to find silica pearls and beaver dams on the entire island map. I also have some great tips on safely looting pearls from beaver dams, along with all of the other goodies without getting killed by the beavers. So check the link in the description and watch that whole guide. It'll be extremely helpful. But for now, I'll show you my 2 favorite beaver spawn locations at 87.3, 60.3, right next to South Zone 2. And just on the other side of Metal Mountain is another great beaver spawn location at 76.7, 41.5. And you can easily grab all the silica pearls from both locations in just a couple of minutes. Rinse and repeat a few times and you've got the safest, easiest, fastest silica pearls on the south side of the map. Now, another great place to get silica pearls is from trilobites. They are found in shallow seas around the tropical coast. Basically anywhere there's coral, you'll probably find trilobites. But in the morning, they come out on land, and quite a few of them will wind up on the beach. It's a good idea to keep an eye out for these, kill them, and harvest them with a metal hatchet anytime you can. You don't get a lot, but it's an easy early game way to get quite a few silica pearls. You can also get them from ammonites, eurypterids, and leeches, but those are found in much more dangerous areas than the tropical beaches where you find trilobites. Another great silica pearl location is anywhere with fish if you have an otter. With an otter on your shoulder, hop in the water and double tap F when you're pointing towards a fish. As long as the otter is the one that kills the fish, it'll harvest it, and then when you bring the otter back on land, it's going to hold up a little clamshell, and you can open its inventory and it'll have some pearls for you, usually 1 per fish. You can also whistle attack target and put it on aggressive so it kills a bunch of fish at a time. Then bring it back up on land and it'll have a bunch of silica pearls and black pearls. Just be careful because a lot of times there's piranhas and saber-toothed salmon that will fight back and might kill your otter, so it's a good idea to have a lot of melee damage on your otter's stats, and more melee also boosts their heating and cooling to keep you more comfortable in the hot and cold weather. There are actually a bunch of underwater caves full of silica pearls, and I'm working on a guide to show you every one of their locations, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video as soon as it's finished. And quick tip, if you use a scuba mask underwater, it will be much easier to see Silica Pearl nodes, but the water is still pretty murky. If you want to make the water crystal clear like mine, there's an admin command which I'll post in the description of this video. So that's my top 10 Silica Pearl locations in Ark Survival Ascended, the island map. Let me know in the comments which pearl spawns are your favorites and which ones you use. If you know of any Silica Pearl spawns that I missed, I'd love to hear about them in the comments too. Please don't forget to like this video so it can help other people. I've got tons more helpful guides for Ark Ascended resources, base locations, and other epic tricks that will change your life, but there's lots more coming, so make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring that bell to enable all notifications, or you will most likely miss the next helpful ASA guide that comes out. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video from the Ark Survival Guide. Please give it a thumbs up, share it around, and leave a comment. That helps us so much, and we love hearing from you. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for all notifications so you don't miss our next video full of tricks that will help you win at Ark. While you wait, here's more videos you can watch right now, and we will see you in the next video.